Well, good evening, Steelers. Welcome to this game of Command and Colours Napoleonics. We are playing the game tonight of the French attack on Hougoumont, obviously during the Battle of Waterloo. This is from the Generals, Marshals and Tacticians expansion. So this is not in the original box set, but it's in the in one of the expansions. You can see I've already laid out the table, obviously. So we've got the British and Hanoverians at the back, defending Hougoumont farm itself here, and the orchard and the gardens, and the French lined up ready to attack over here. Now tonight I'm playing it with Richard Borg's own solo rules, which I'm going to go through first of all before we start the game itself. I'm just going to say, let me know if you can hear me. I'm never 100% sure if the audio works on these or not. So we'll just have to see if you can hear me. And anyway, so yes, we're playing Richard Borg's. They are called The Power of Three, and they are his own solo rules. Thank you, Eric. I only found them actually today through Solo Board Games, I think he's called, another YouTube channel. Go and check him out. I've just subscribed to him today, so check out my subscriptions. You'll find him in there. And he was playing Command and Colours recently, or an introduction to it, and mentioned these. So I went looking for them, and they're basically 3 pages of solo rules, so they're a lot simpler than the ones I was using before, which were Stuka Joe's. Literally all you do is you deal out three cards per player. You choose to use one of them in a turn, and then 2 of them are discarded at the end of the turn, and then you draw 2 more cards to take your hand back up to 3, but they're drawn face down, so you don't know what you're going to get. There's just obvious couple of little things in here as well. So we also have the first strike and short supply. First strike, you can actually use it in this version. It's one of the ones I've always taken out in solo versions of this. And what you do is you play it on your unit in an adjacent hex to an enemy unit, and you basically attack them straight away, and you don't get an attack of opportunity back or anything for that. So that's quite a nice little bonus, really. It's basically a bonus attack on the enemy. Also, if you have command cards as well, if it says on the Elan or the rally cards, you draw as many as it says in the scenario itself, not how many's in your hand, because obviously the ones that are in your hand are only 3. So that's kind of how the way it works, really. Squares. The other thing is the squares. You can form as many up to 4 squares. You don't have to play a card. However, if you have 2 or more units in square, you only draw 1 command card instead of drawing 2 at the end. So that kind of cuts down your choices as well. And then we also have as well, there's a little bit here about the Tactician Cards, which I'm not using tonight because it's the first time trying this. I'm just going to try the basic set of rules for this. It's very, very relatively simple. Like I said, there's no dice rolling it like there is in Stuka Joe's version, or having to make your own dice. Alright, if you are in the chat, say hello. As usual, I think there's a bit of lag in the program itself, so just be aware that if you do ask a question, I'll probably not get to it for a little while, just because of the way of the chat works. But as I say, I'm just going to show you here. This is what we're playing it from. This is expansion number 5, General Marshals and Tacticians. I got this for Christmas, actually, last year or the year before, and it basically just adds extra units in for you, and also there's quite a lot of new scenarios in there as well. Some of these are, unfortunately for me, Prussians and Russians and Austrian scenarios, which I don't have those armies for, but there are a few British ones in there, and as I say, one of them is the attack on Hougoumont itself as well, which you can see here, 18th of June. So, just to go through this, the British Army has 6 command cards, 6 tactician cards if you're using them. The French has 5 command cards and 4 tactician cards, and they move first. The first one to get 8 victory banners is the winner. Also, we'll just go through the special rules. The Orchard, which is a new set of it's new to that set of terrain. The French, it's a temporary victory banner worth 1 banner for the French when at least 1 orchard hex is occupied by a French unit at the start of the turn, so they'll obviously be trying to get into that orchard. The British player also gains a temporary victory banner at the start of the turn if the French do not occupy any of the 3 Hougoumont walled farms or 2 walled garden hexes. So the British already start with a victory banner because there's no French in there already. The French gets 2 victory banners, temporary victory banners, at the start of the turn if the British do not occupy any of the 3 Hougoumont walled farm hexes. So that's 3 here. And what else do we get? The French player also gains 1 victory banner if 3 full-strength British units do not occupy the British baseline. So basically, they're trying to draw them away from that back end of the table as well, to fight to get them, so get points for that as well. So there's a few bits in there to try and remember. We'll see if we do. I probably won't, because you know what it's like when I'm playing games. I always forget things left, right and centre. But we start, as I said, first of all with the French. So I'm just going to deal their cards. I'm going to deal them in front of you so you can see what we're doing. If you look at the little camera there, so 1, 2 and 3. That's my deck there. And the French starts with attack centre, probe the centre and assault the right flank. So that's quite a few cards they can choose from there. And you know what? The Orchard is on that right flank, so I think we're going to go for an assault on the right flank. So it's order a number of units or leaders on the right flank equal to the command, the number of cards held in your card. And as I say, because this is that the game for a solo game, the number of cards in your hand is how many you start with at the start of the game, which in this case is 5. So they can order 5 units. Hi there, Bjorn. Good to have you on board. I see 12 people are watching at the moment. Give me some likes, folks, if you're enjoying this so far. Hit that like button, it costs you nothing. So we're going to crack on, and we're going to assault that right flank with 5 French units. So let me choose which ones we're going to go for. Well, we've got some light units over here. We've also got some line. You'll notice here as well that a couple of these line units have got blocks on them that are missing, because I didn't actually have enough blocks to make up all of the units in this particular game. Would you believe? There was one unit missing, so I had to make it up from some of the other units that I've got. But that's just the way it is. So the line units are moving at 1. Hold on one second, let me just get out the French organisation charts. I should have done this earlier on. I thought I'd got them out somewhere. Let me just nip and get them. They are here. There we are. I thought I got them. So the line units can move 1 hex, but they don't battle. The light infantry, they can move 1 and battle, or 2 and not battle, and we're moving 5 of them. We've also got a general down here as well. I want to get these French into that orchard quickly. All the orchard does, it doesn't stop movement, but when you're firing out of it, it reduces 1 dice, I think, for artillery and for cavalry. I'll just check that, but at this point I don't think we need to. I'm going to bring the light into there because we're not in the orchards just yet. Then we've also got these line as well. I've got the foot artillery. They could start plugging away at the light infantry in front of them, so I might do that as well. So what? Let's have a look. Let's get these line infantry forward, and we might as well try and force passage into that orchard, aren't we, really? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got the foot artillery. They're going to fire. Nobody else can fire because they've all moved their maximums. So I'll just get back to the battle dice for you here. And we've got foot artillery firing 3, 2, 1 into woods. 3, 2, 1. So they're rolling 1 dice. I think you roll 1 dice no matter what anyway, but let me just check. Firing into artillery is artillery firing into woods is a -1, so that does reduce them right down to a single dice anyway. So let's go for it. And that's a cavalry, so no effect at all. One moment. My wife has just texted me, so that's always the way whenever I start live streaming. Okay, so that's pretty much the French. That's them done. Come on, 4 likes, 11 people watching, 12 people watching. Hit that like button for me. So then the French discard that card. As I say, they keep 1 down, and then let me just 100% check this. As I say, first time I've done this. Looks at 3 concubines, select one, plays it. At the end, discarded with one of the other 2 command cards that the French player is holding. So basically, they get to hold on to one of them. So I'm going to keep attack centre and discard probe centre. So they then draw 2 new cards face down, and they just go into their hand. The British. So we're on with their 3 cards. Let's see what they have. Flank attack, cavalry charge, probe right flank. Well, cavalry charge is relatively useless in this game because I've only got 1 cavalry unit. Maybe flank attack might be a good one, or maybe even just probing the right flank and hold on to that flank attack for later. I think that's what they're going to do. So probing the right flank is 2 units can move. They've got to hold a couple back so the French don't get their their bonuses for British units not being on the rear. So what are they going to do? Well, they've got the line here. Let's keep them on the ridge at least, but moving forward, we're only moving 2 units, and then that does actually open up the cavalry to come out as well. So I'm going to do that. They're no longer blocked. 1, 2, and 3. Let's just get them out there. At least they're out. And that's it for the British. So they are going to dump that cavalry charge because they don't really need it. Then take 2 new cards. So back to the French. So we've got now attack the centre with 3. Give them cold steel. Issue an order to all units adjacent to enemy ordered units made melee with an additional dice. There's not many of them. And then they've got flank attack, which is 2 attacks on either side. So do we push forward in the centre or on the flanks? Let's use the flank attack to push forward on that centre, on the right, I think. Well, the right and the left, because they want to get into that orchard if they can. That's their plan. This set of trees here is actually part of the orchard. Again, I didn't have enough tiles for some reason. There wasn't enough in my set. So 1, 2, we can at least get them, the light infantry, into there. Should we attack those light infantry, or should we move past them? Yeah, let's get past them. We can mop up later on with the heavies as they come in. And then we've got on this side, let's get these light into those woods. Use some of that cover. There's also a British artillery, horse artillery over there, which might be worthwhile knocking at. And we've also got the light rifles as well. So I'm going to start moving the line infantry towards the horses there. Okay, so not a massive amount of movement there. Right, so I've got to get rid of one of these to attack the centre or give them cold steel. Give them the cold steel is relatively useless at this point, so I'm going to keep attack the centre instead. I think that's the best thing to do. So the British, what do they have? Flank attack, as we had before, probe the centre, and leadership. Issue an order to all leaders. When a leader is attached to a unit, the unit is also ordered as long as the leader remains with the unit. Any ordered unit shall roll 1 additional dice in all battles. A leader may detach from a unit. If a leader moves and joins a unit, the unit is not ordered. If you do not have any leaders, issue an order to one unit of your choice. Well, the British have got 3 leaders, but none of them are attached to units at this point. But this could be a chance to get them all attached. I think that might be a way. Thanks, Paul Bennett. The like icon should be just underneath the screen itself on the right hand side. Is a little thumbs up. So I think I'm going to go with leadership and get some of these leaders actually attached to units, because that will be useful for future anyway. So I'm going to bring this chap over. They are all a particular unit. They're all particular leaders. So that was Bing. Then we got McDonald. I'll bring him in and attach him to the guards. And then who else have we got? Our other one is Cook over there on the flank, and he will attach himself to that line there, just so at least they now have some leaders attached to them. Alright, so the French starting to move forward, and then we've got to get rid of one of these. So I'm going to get rid of the flanker type, because the centre, probe the centre, is probably the better one for the Allies at this point. So over to the French. Right, well, the French have started their round, and they are in the the orchard. But let's just check here. The orchard is a temporary victory banner worth 1 banner for the French when at least 1 orchard hex is occupied by a French unit. So they're both currently on 1. So the British are already on the 1 they started with. The French are now on 1 as well, of 8. Which expansion is this scenario from? Caramon asks. It is from the Generals, Marshals and Tacticians expansion, which I believe is expansion number 5. And so the French cards, we have Attack Centre, Probe Centre and Cavalry Charge. Again, the French don't have much cavalry. They've only got 1 unit of cavalry here. However, they can move 3 hex. Well, the heavy cavalry can move 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. The problem is they're not close to the British cavalry at this point, so there wouldn't be much point in using that. Shall we push it in the centre? Well, we've got a probe in the centre or an attack in the centre. Let's attack the centre. I mean, that's more sensible, isn't it? Using 3 rather than two cards, 2 units. So we're just going to push forward with our line infantry. Let's get these up if we can. We've got the light infantry here, so do I send them into the woods to threaten the light rifles? It might be worthwhile mine to try and flush them out as well. They can't battle, but they can, at least they're in position to attack. So that's the French movement. So do they get rid of the probe centre, or do they hang on to that cavalry charge? No, we'll get rid of the cavalry charge. Why not? And we draw our 2 new ones. Back to our British player. Evening at the Red Sox, Mike. Good to have you on board. Okay, we've got Reconning Force, Rally, which basically just brings back units, and Probe the Centre, which is the 2 units. It might be the Probe the Centre might be a good one. We've got some horse artillery and those rifles as well ready to fight. So I'm going to go with Probe the Centre, I think. So we stick that over there. So in our attack with the rifles, they get an additional dice in ranged combat, but they do not hit on sabres when they're meleeing, which is a shame for them. So, but I'm going to use them to attack the light infantry there. So they're only rolling 3 dice, and they don't hit on sabres. So let's see what happens. Well, there's a sabre, but they've also killed the first 2 French units, so that's them gone. I'm surprised Miles hasn't mentioned something about the the French if he's watching. I'm sure he'll pop up at some point. Okay, so that was relatively successful. Then we've also got our horse artillery as well over here, so they're going to take a shot, because why not? So they're starting on 3, becomes a 2, so 2 dice against those French in the open. That's a cannon and a sabre, so no hits at all from them. But at least the rifles did okay. Oh, one thing I forgot to do is the light infantry. The French light infantry can battle back. Probably should have taken 1 dice off for the woods as well, but I forgot about that. So I'll let the French have their full dice, so they take 1 out as well. So 1 for 1. That's only fair, isn't it? All right. So the British then are going to get rid of rally, and then they draw their 2 new cards. All right, back to the French. So we've got probe centre, counter attack, which is issue the same order as their opponent, and then attack the centre. Well, they were doing it previously, so I don't see why they shouldn't attack that centre. So this is 3 units in the centre. So we've got the rifles. They will fire at the British rifles. They'll probably remember to take off that dice this time. But first of all, we're moving up. You can never actually remember if you can attack if you're next to somebody, or if you have to be activated to attack if you're next to them. Let me just quickly check. Melee combat. Attacking units and adjacent said to be attacking them in melee. May not use range combat. The unit must melee combat if the unit if it chooses to battle. No, so you can't. You have to basically get up there and then attack them. All right. Just clear that up. I should have read the rules before I started, shouldn't I? But never mind. So these 2 have moved forward. And they've done nothing, but we've got the rifles, the light infantry firing at the rifles over there, and I'm just going to check if it is a reduction in firing for that for being in the woods. And I'm fairly certain it is. Firing into is -1. Yes, they're basically both down to one dice each, except for the French light infantry. They only rolled an additional dice in range combat. So the French light are just rolling 1 dice against the Allies 1 dice. So the French dice, first of all, that's a kill. So I've taken out one of the rifles. But they get to battle back because there's still one of them left. So they're rolling back, and they've just got a cavalry, so that hasn't done anything for them. So that's our French. And they are going to put counter attack into the discard pile, and then take their 2 new cards. This is going interesting so far. So we've got recon in force. This is the British. Fire and hold. Attack left flank. Is it worthwhile trying to get the French out of that orchard? It might be, but then they're going to thin out that rear line, aren't they, if they do that? This is issue an order. Fire and hold is issue an order to 4 or fewer infantry and artillery units. Ordered units will perform ranged combat with 1 additional dice. So that's for ranged combat, but it is artillery as well. There's quite a few in range. So I think we're going to go with that one, fire and hold. They are British after all, aren't they? So let's see, 4 or fewer artillery units. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. So they're going to fire at those. These will fire at these. The guard will fire. Oh, no, that's not. I'm not going to fire at them. They're adjacent. So I was going to fire at them. I thought they were French. They're not. They're Dutch. So they can't fire. These will fire over here. Is there anything else that we can fire with? I think they're just out of range. No, they're not actually. They're just in, so they will fire as well. That foot artillery over there, and we get that extra dice with them as well. So let's start with the foot artillery up here. They're getting 2 dice because they get 1, but they get that extra 1. And they've got a kill. That was a horse and a man, so the man is 1 single kill on the French. And then we've got the horse artillery here, and they are firing at, let me have a look, 3, 2, isn't it? So that becomes 2, but that goes up to 3. So fingers crossed. So that's 2 kills, and a sabre does nothing in range combat, so almost destroyed a French unit there. Then we've got the other foot artillery over there, so that's starting on a, starts on a 3 or 4. It's 4 for the foot artillery, so 4, 3 firing into the orchard. Now this is where I need to check the orchard rules because I just can't remember that off the top of my head. I did have a look at them earlier on, but let me just 100% check. Firing into the orchard, I'm not sure if it does a great deal. Battle. Any unit may battle the turn it moves into an orchard. When battling out of an orchard, the infantry do not reduce the number of dice, but cavalry and artillery do. But when targeting an enemy unit or leader on an orchard hex, an attacking unit will roll 1 less battle dice in ranged and melee. So it reduces their attack. And we started, we said, we start on 4, 3, minus 1 becomes 2, but goes back up to 3 because they've got that hold and fire. And so that's just 1 kill. So the French are taking hits already, even before anything else. And this is the way it is. This is the way it is. And I think that was it, wasn't it? Yeah, we fired with them. Who else have we fired? We fired with them as well, haven't we? Oh, the other one was this one, wasn't it? The line infantry over here. So they're firing with 5 because they're on the same level, but they're also British. So they get an extra dice in range combat, so it takes them up to 6. It's not bad. So, well, if they were firing at artillery, it would be all right. But they've got 3 cannons, a sabre, a flag, and 1 kill. So they've killed 1, but they've also forced them back as well. So they've got to fall back here. You know, they were firing into woods, so they should have minus 1 dice actually. I'm going to re-roll that because they were firing into woods and I thought they were on a hill. Don't know why I thought that. So we're rolling 5 dice instead of 6, should I say. Let's try it again. So that is 2 kills and a retreat this time. But that is more fair. Anyway, nobody minds so much if the French infantry get killed, do they? Okay, so that was our fire and hold. The other cards that the British got left, they've got attack the left flank and recon in force. I'm gonna get rid of attack the left flank because that's quite specific. So I don't really want to hang on to that. So they've taken their cards. All right, we'll see what the French have got here. Probe Centre, the Grand Manoeuvre, which is issue an order to 4 or fewer units or leaders. They may make a strategic move up to 4 hexes. An infantry unit in square may not be ordered. Ordered units may not battle and attack the centre. Hamster on the painting wheel. Where did you get the dice from? I found them on eBay. I think it was somebody in Canada was selling them. Just do a search for them. It's just somebody, just some random seller on eBay. Just do a search for. I think they're where they are wooden. Search for Command and Colours dice. You'll probably find the same seller. Right. Okay. We are going to do the Grand Manoeuvre and order up to 4 units to make a 4-unit square move. 4 hex move. So I want to get some of these forward, you see, that's the point. So let's get these pushed past and get them up into 1, 2, 3. Get them into the walled garden itself. Hougoumont. Get these in 1, 2, 3. That's 2 of them. Let's get these 1, 2 into the orchard as well. So that's 4 of them done. I tell you what, let's get these line up as well so they can attack that horse artillery unit as well to try and knock those out. Very nice, better than the chunky plastic dice. Yeah, they are, and also the stickers on the chunky plastic dice come off quite easily as well. So it's just better to have these ones, I think. But yeah, they're really nice. I don't, like I said, I have no idea who made them, but search on eBay, you'll find them. They're well worth buying if you're playing this a lot. Right, so that's the grand manoeuvre gone. So for the French, let's get rid of the probe of the centre. We'll keep the attack centre because that's a bigger hitter. Do you find it's okay playing CNC solo? Yes, I do. This is the Richard Borg's solo version. There's at least 2 versions of solo out there. This one, which is if you do a search online for, it's called The Power of 3 by Richard Borg. It's basically 3 pages of solo rules, and that's all it is. You're just using 3 cards instead of the full 5 or 6 cards that you normally have. There's also Stuka Joe's version as well, how to play card games. Check that out. That you'll find that you can either buy it officially from GMT Games, or you can download a free version of it off Board Game Geek. Again, just do a search for Stuka Joe. I think it's CDC card games. If anybody's got the link, if anyone can find a link to it, stick it in the chat. But this one, Richard Borg's Power of 3, I just found it on a random website. I did a search for it earlier and pulled it out and literally just printed out the PDF. It was only written earlier this year, so it's obviously done during the coronavirus. Now then, where was I? Oh, that was the French, wasn't it, who did the grand manoeuvre. I played the CNC for ages. You can just play it normally, actually, to be honest, without... you can play it normally without any of these extra rules anyway. Just all you do is take out the first strike cards. Just don't use them. It's that simple. Anyway, over to our British. So we've got Recon in Force, Short Supply, and Assault the Left Flank. So Recon in Force, Assault Left Flank. Well, that'll be 6 units on that left flank, and the French are getting a bit heavy over there, aren't they? I don't know, is it worthwhile pushing some of those in? It would be all of them, but then that would again release units from that rear line, and I really don't want to be doing that. We have got the artillery that could fire if they did that, though. I'm going to go with Recon in Force, I think, because that's just going to spread things out a little bit. So, well, we've got cavalry, haven't we, there? We can just charge those straight into someone. I think they will, you know. Let's exploit it. Well, let's go in against the line. The line are going to form square. So in these solo rules, you're allowed to form up to 4 squares. If you have 2, you lose a card when you draw them out again. So that was the move on that flank. Then we've got this one over here. Well, it's going to have to be the Imperial Guard, or the Grenadier Guard, isn't it, to try to knock those line infantry out there. And then I'm going to use the artillery to batter the light infantry there as well. That's the plan. Right, well, we'll start with that the artillery. So we're starting on 4, 3 becomes a 2 dice, and that is a retreat. And can they? I don't think they can ignore flags when they're in the orchard. They can ignore flags in the walled garden and the walled farmhouse, that's right, but not in the orchard. So they're going to fall back, and they'll fall back to there because they don't want to fall back on those light infantry there. And then we've also got the Grenadier Guards. I think they're slightly different in the attack. So Guard Grenadiers, they are rolling. They get an extra dice in ranged and melee combat, and they can ignore 2 flags. So that is going to be 6 dice they're rolling. So let's see what happens. So that is 2 kills, 2 retreats. The French are actually in the garden, so they can ignore the retreats, and they're in the walled building, and also they've got an officer with them as well, so they can ignore 2 of those retreats. So they're going to, but they still lose 2 men. So the desperate fighting for the farmhouse starts. Right. Oh, we've got the light cavalry as well attacking the line. So now then, with a square, apologies, with a square, we'll just 100% check on this one. I think the square gets to attack first, or the cavalry do, and the square attacks, and if it's a bounce, then they bounce off. And forming a square and combat, the infantry square battle first with 1 dice, even though the opponent is the active player. So let's see what happens. That's a sabre, so that is a kill on those British. However, when they attack, I think the cavalry will only drop down to 1 dice as well. Yeah, they attack against a square with a maximum of 1 dice. So they've lost 1, but they also get to attack as well. And they might kill them. We'll see. No, they don't. They got a horsey. So unfortunately for them, the attack didn't go in. Right, so that was the British, and they've got short supply and assault the left flank. They're going to get rid of. They're going to get rid of assault the left flank. Hold on to short supply, I think. That's a better one. At this point, right? Okay, back to the French. We've got to attack the centre, attack the left flank, and probe the centre. Well, they've got loads of stuff in that centre, so they're just going to attack the centre. Because why wouldn't you? And they've got 3 units in there, or they want to attack with 3 units at least. So what we're going to look at? Well, we've got line infantry. They can attack the light infantry in the walled gardens, and we've also got the light infantry here can attack. We've got the line infantry here as well, can attack those artillery. So I think I'm going to do that actually, and that's a good idea. So we've got light infantry against the rifles. They're only rolling 1 dice because they're attacking in woods, but they've killed them. So that's a victory banner for the French. So they're now on 2. They can follow up on that attack, so they're going to. And then we've got the line infantry attacking the horse artillery, so that's 4 dice. The French line, do they get an extra 1 in melee? I think they might do. Let me just check. Let me just see if I can read it. Yeah, in melee combat. Oh no, only against infantry, not against cavalry. So let's just see what they get. 1 sabre, 2 men, 1 horse. So that's 1 kill on the horse artillery. They get to fight back, and they're fighting back with 3 dice. And they've got a sabre and a man, so they've killed 2. The French line. God, these French line are starting to get a bit hammered at the moment. A lot of their units are falling to pieces. This is what happens in the attack, I guess. And then our other attack was the French line against the British light. So they're rolling 5, but -1 attack, -1 dice, because they are attacking into the walled garden. So, and they can ignore a flag, 1 flag as well. Oh, so that's just 1 kill and a flag. So 1 kill. So they will attack back. With 4, -1 because they're attacking back into a walled garden as well. The French can ignore a flag, so that's 2 kills actually. Wow. This is turning into the battle at Hougoumont, isn't it? They're getting a bit splattered, these French. It's not good for them, not good for them. Poor fellas. Come on, I've got 14 people watching and 8 likes. Just hit that like button for me. Go on, you know you want to. Right, so the French have got to get rid of a left flank attack or a probe centre. We'll keep the left flank, I think, because that's the heavy hitter there. Then we draw 2 new cards. And over to the British. Short supply, scout centre, and probe the right flank. Well, I'm going to go probe the right flank because we've still got that cavalry floating about there. So I might use them to attack maybe the light infantry and force them into square as well. Yes. Is there anything else I could do over there? It's not a great deal, I don't think, is there? Well, we've got line infantry. Now I'm going to withdraw the cavalry actually. 1, 2, 3, back to there. I'm going to bring this line infantry up onto that hill as well. From their rear position to there. That's all they're going to do. So we will then get rid of scout the centre. Draw our 2 new cards. Put them down there. So back to the French. Attack the left flank, scout the centre, and elan. Roll battle dice equal to the command, the number of cards held in your hand, so that'd be 5. Each symbol rolled that this card is of this type is ordered. We're going to use that. We're going to use elan. So we're rolling 5 dice, and whatever symbol is there. Sabres do not order anything. Flags are whatever I decide. Would you believe it? 2 cavalry, they've only got 1 cavalry, 2 sabres and 1 infantry. So basically an infantry and a cavalry. That's not great. They've only got 1 cavalry as well, so we're going to bring them forward. 1, 2, 3. Let's go and see if we can pursue that British light cavalry and see if we can get them chased off the table. And then we've got 1 more infantry unit. Well, you know what? The line light infantry there are out of that orchard, aren't they? Is it worthwhile getting them back in? Or is it worthwhile attacking with a line against the horse artillery here? Oh, it's a bit of a tough one, this one. Ooh, I don't know what to do here. Tell you what, let's play it safe and let's bring forward this unit into the woods, so at least they're safe and they're starting to shore up that attack a little bit. That's kind of all I can do, really, isn't it? That was a bit of a failure, unfortunately, for them. So anyway, we can get rid of scout the centre or attack left flank. So we'll get rid of scout the centre. Draw there 2 new cards. Now the British attack the right flank, counter attack, which is obviously the same as before, and short supply. And let's go with counter attack. So they're rolling 6 dice. Same again. So it's basically the same as what the previous unit did. So well, that's pretty good. So that's 4 infantry units, 1 cannon, and also 1 horsey. So that's a pretty good spread actually. So I think what they're going to do, well, I tell you what, we can activate this horsey. No, it's only in range combat. So I was going to use them to do combined arms, but I can combined arms them with the grenadiers. That's a good idea, isn't it? So we'll use that and that, the grenadiers, and that will do a combined arms attack against the French there, which is basically you add up everything together. I'm just going to put these dice out before I start to do anything. So the horses are going to be them anyway, which just makes it a bit easier for me to remember what's going on. Well, we've got line infantry there. They're almost broken, so let's try and get rid of them. And maybe, I'll tell you what, let's bring some of these light infantry, line and light infantry, back into Hougoumont itself to help protect it, because we don't want that to fall, do we? So let's work our way through. So we're starting with the cavalry over there. What are they going to do? I could force another square on the French, or I could attack that square there. Come on, let's go for the square. More chance of destroying them in square there, but the square attack against them. Cannon, nothing. The cavalry attack the square. Sabre, that's a kill. So that has destroyed that French unit in square, and also gained the British another victory banner. So they're now on 2. So they started with 1, as you'll remember. I'll just do that to get it out of the way, really. Got this line infantry. I'm going to move them up here to block these for retreating. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. Shove them in there, and then the light infantry will also come up here as well. That will be their move, so they will then block that line infantry. So if they get any flags, they will also get destroyed. So we're now going to attack with the light infantry into the line, and they're attacking with 3 dice against those French. And that's a sabre and a retreat and a horsey, but they are in a walled garden, so they can ignore that retreat, but they can't ignore that sabre. So they've lost 1. They do get to battle back, but 1 dice, but -1. But I'm going to allow them that 1 dice. Nothing. I'm fairly certain you can roll a minimum of 1. I can't remember if I've read that in this particular set of rules or in another one, but I'm allowing it to happen in this game. Okay, and then we've also got the Guards Grenadier and the Horse Artillery as well attacking this line infantry. So the Guards are attacking they're starting with 5 dice. However, they're attacking a walled house, so that minuses 1. But then we've also got the guns as well, and they're firing a 3, 2, so that becomes another 1, so that's 5 in total. So we've got 2 sabres, which is kills, a man, which is a kill, and a retreat, and there's only 2 of them in there, so they're off, so that's another unit off, so that's another flag for the British. 3 now. And do we hit your man? Have to roll 2 dice. If you get a sabre on either, then he's been hit. No, he hasn't, so he will retreat. And he will go 1, 2. He'll come back and join this light unit here. He'll join them. Run away. Oh dear, poor fella. And then the British get to move up. There's no battle back from the French, so these will just move into position here, like that. Okay, pretty successful turn that, using that counter attack there. So the British have got to get rid of one of these. Short supply or attack right flank. And what should we go with? Let's get rid of short supply. No, they won't, you know. They're going to get rid of attack the right flank. We're going to keep that short supply. Send one of the French back. I just realised. That's what they should have done before. You're all very quiet out there in the chat tonight. Say hello if you're watching, if you're enjoying it. I am checking chat, don't worry. So we've got attack the left flank, fire and hold, and attack the right flank. That's 3 units on that, on either side, on either flank. That's quite useful actually. We could get those cavalry in over here somewhere to smash up the British cavalry and get some points. Now things are starting to get a little tired. Maybe send forward some of these fresh units as well. We've also got the light who could attack the artillery. They don't get any loss for attacking out. So yeah, I think we're going to do that. We're going to attack the left flank for the French. So we've got the cavalry first of all. They're just going to pile uphill and just charge into the British cav there, and then maybe they might be able to sweep through into the horse artillery as well. And then we've also got the line infantry. They're going to attack that horse. No, I'll tell you what. Yes, they'll attack the horse artillery. Meanwhile, we'll bring forward under the line infantry here as well. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Right, so we've got light cavalry first of all for the French, attacking our British cavalry. And that's not a single hit. So the light cavalry get to attack back. That's a sabre and a retreat, but they have an officer, so they can ignore that retreat, so they're going to. And then we've got the line infantry attacking against the artillery. So that's a horse and a horse, so nothing. The artillery fires back. And that's a kill and a kill from the horse artillery. So another victory banner for the British. God. So we are now Oh god, they're on 4 halfway through. They need 8. Looks good. Really need to actually get a couple of games in my set. Yeah, that's why I started playing it solo, because it was just sitting on the shelf otherwise. I just very rarely get a chance to play it against somebody else, so I just thought I'm going to try it out solo, and it works. It works well. Alright, so the British are getting rid of... Sorry, the French, should I say, are going to get rid of fire and hold. In this case. Then we are on to the British. They've got short supply, advanced, coordinated advance, and leadership. Issue an order to all leaders. We've done that, haven't we, already? And the leaders are already attached, so we couldn't get them moving. But I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do this one. Short supply. One enemy or friendly unit is out of supply. Remove the unit from the hex it occupies and place it on a baseline hex that may be entered owner's player's choice at the same section of the battlefield. If there are no enterable baseline hexes, place the unit on a vacant hex 1 row forward of the baseline. So this is where they're going to get rid of somebody. So they want to get rid of the light infantry over here. Get them out of the orchard, and they're going to put them all the way back down here. So the French now actually lose that flag because they had to be in the orchard. Definitely the French are getting a pounding. Gosh, yeah, they are. They're getting right hammering in this one. It's a hard game to attack in, really. You've got to do a lot of preparation beforehand to really reduce the defenders. It can work, but yes, in this one, and you know, it swings and roundabouts, though, isn't it? Right, so the British are getting rid of that short supply, so that works for them, and they will also get rid of leadership. So they'll take their 2 new cards, and we're over onto French. They've got attack the right flank, scout the right flank, and attack the left flank. Let's attack that left flank. Let's go with those British cavalry again, if nothing else. And could do a combined arms with the foot artillery, so that'd be 4, 3, 2, 1. So that would be 2 of them, and then they've got 1 more unit, which let's bring this line infantry forward, and then yes, they're going to attack with the cavalry and with this artillery as well. So that would be 4 dice in total against the British light cavalry. Again, if we can try and sweep those away, they can get through to that horse artillery perhaps. Let's have a look. So we've got a kill, an infantry, a retreat, and a cannon. So that's 1 kill and a retreat. So they will fall back. They don't get to battle back. These get to follow up attack, and they do get to attack again. So question is, do we go for the light cavalry again, or do they go for the horse artillery? French artillery looks like key for this, but you need the cards. Yes, absolutely. You've got to really soften them up and get the artillery forward. They're in a position where you can't really see much, unfortunately. Let's go for the cavalry again. I think more chance of taking those out than the artillery. Artillery pretty dangerous at close range. So yes, they've done it, killed it, and a flag. So that's another flag for the French. So they're back to 2 at least, and these do get to follow up on that. So they're going to battle through onto there. David Whitehouse says, enjoying this. Sorry, I missed the start. Which module scenario is this? No worries. This is from the what's it called? The Generals, Marshals, and Tacticians expansion. It's the I think it's number 5 of all the expansions, and this is the Hougoumont scenario in that particular set. Very infantry heavy, this one, and very casualty heavy as well. So that was the French. They've managed to break that British cavalry at least. So we've got attack the right flank, scout right flank. So we're going to get rid of that scout card, and you draw out our 2. Okay, back to the British then. So we've got assault centre, attack centre, and a coordinated advance. Coordinated advance might be useful because there's a lot of artillery facing that French cavalry. Could just massacre them. So I'm going to use that. No problem, David. Thanks for joining us. So yes, it's 1 unit on either flank and 2 units in the centre. So the 1 unit on the flank will be the foot artillery. We've got these 2 units here, which I could just blast that French cavalry with. And then the final one, maybe the foot artillery over there, firing at the light infantry. They're just sitting there in the open. I think that might be the best way to do it, isn't it? Bit of a coordinated artillery blast. So we'll start with our foot artillery over here. So 4, 3, 2 dice. Don't think we'll destroy the cavalry this turn. We might send them back flying at least. 2 dice first of all. 2 cannons. Nothing. And we got this one 4, 3 this time. Oh, 3 cavalry. That's taken them right out. So that's destroyed another French. So that's another victory token for the British. They're now on 5 of 8. That leaves the commander on his own. He was there, wasn't he? Let's see if he's hit. Double sabres, and he is. No, he isn't. So he has to retreat. So he's going to go 1, 2, and he's going to join that line infantry there. So he's run off. We've still got that second unit in this middle, haven't we, to fire? So I think, should we go with the Grenadier Guards against the infantry there in the woods? Yeah, that was a kill, wasn't it? That was definitely a wow. So we've got the Grenadier Guards. They're going to fire 5 dice. Firing into woods is -1, but I think the Grenadier Guards get a +1 in ranged combat. Yes, they do. They do get a ranged combat bonus. So firing 5 dice against those in the woods. That's cocked, so I'm going to re-roll that. So we got a flag, a horse, a cannon, 2 infantry. There's 2 infantry in there, so that's them destroyed as well. So that's another banner for the British. And see if our Frenchman is hit as well. Double sabres, and he is. No, he isn't. If that was melee, he would have been hit. So he's got to retreat. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3 and join that line infantry. They are wiping them out at the moment. And then we've got the foot artillery over here. So that's going to fire 3, 2, 1 at those French light. Sabre does nothing in range combat. Well, that was definitely a coordinated advance, wasn't it? That was pretty bloody good, that. And we've got the attack centre and assault centre. So they're going to get rid of the attack centre and then draw their 2 cards. Right, the French really need to step up their game. I thought they were doing pretty well at the start when they managed to get into the orchards and everything. Right, well, we've got cavalry charge, so that's useless because we've got no cavalry left. Attack the left flank and attack the right flank. Let's go with attack the right flank, I think, and try and get back into those orchards, at least get them another, what's it called, another victory banner. So I'll go 1, 2 into the orchard, Hougoumont. We'll also bring these up as well. We can order 3 units. Just want to get them forward really into a position that they can actually do something. And these ones as well. Just bring them forward to try and support everything as well. Good card, absolutely. Right, so the French, they're just going to get rid of that cavalry charge. Draw their 2. They will at least get a victory marker for the next turn. Unless that light infantry gets thrown out. So the British have got assault the centre, attack the right flank, and probe the centre. Is a probe on the centre a best thing, I think, at this point? We've got the French here, we've got 2 units here. If we can destroy them, then they win the game. So I think that might be the best thing to do, isn't it? Assault the centre. So we'll use that. That is equal number of units in the centre of your command cards, and they have 6 command cards, so they've got 6 units they can use. and so that means we can do some firing with cannons and things as well. So I think we're going to do that, you know. If they can move up to 6 of them. I'll tell you what, let's bring the other Grenadier Guards forward as well. Try and clear that orchard out at least, if nothing else. Let's get them in. So that's one forward. That's one used up. These light are going to attack the line infantry there. Then we've got the light infantry here who are going to attack the light infantry there. If they survive, they'll attack them. They won't survive, I don't think, because even if they retreat, they'll get destroyed. So we don't use one. Oh, what do we do now? What do we do now? We bring forward that. Let's get these cannons into Hougoumont itself. Let's get it really full of bristling, full of brass. So that's 2 that have moved, and there's no French to attack. That's the problem. There's only these 2, but we can attack them with these. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start attacking now. First of all, I'm going to start with the horse artillery. They're just going to fire at 3, 2, 1 at the French line. There, nothing. That's a cannon. No issues. We've got the attack by the light infantry into the woods there. They don't hit on sabres. No, they do. They're British lights. They only get it's the rifles that don't hit on sabres. So 3 dice because they're attacking into that walled garden, and they can ignore a flag. 2 kills and a horsey. Well, there you go. There's only one of them left, so they are out. Another flag for the British. They can follow up that attack, so they're going to push through into there. They can't fight again though, but they have at least got through. And then we've got light infantry who are going to attack the French light infantry in the orchard. Now they don't get there's no difference attacking into an orchard, so it's only 3 dice, and I think these ones probably don't get to roll a sabre. Let me just check that. No, they only get an additional dice in ranged combat. Let's see what we get. An infantry and a flag. So that kills 1, and then they fall back. They do get to battle back. It means the French are no longer in the orchard. So they're going to fight back because they're still adjacent to those Dutch. So they've killed 2 of them, a sabre and a man. So well worth fighting back there, wasn't it? Gosh, still it's teetering on the brink, isn't it? This French loss, I think, at this point. Anyway, so that was the British turn, wasn't it? Yes, that's everything they could do. That was assault the centre. So they're going to get rid of probe the centre. So we get 2 more, and then back to the French. Okay, we've got attack left flank, bayonet charge, and force march. Let's have a look at what the bayonet charge does. Issue an order to 4 or fewer infantry units. Units may move 2 hexes and still battle in melee. Ordered units may not engage in ranged combat. Any guard get an additional dice. There are no guard. I've got a couple of units that are 2 away though, so they might use that. And then we've got force march. All infantry units in one section, they get to move up to 2 hexes and battle. Well, that's a pretty good one as well. The problem is they're all a bit spread out at this point. Is it worthwhile doing a forced march on that right flank and getting everything up to Hougoumont itself? What do we think? What do you think? The infantry with an attached leader may move 2 hexes and battle. Other infantry units may move 1 hex on battle, or 2 hexes and not battle. Is it worthwhile getting them up and maybe even attacking him with the lights as well? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the force march. That's a bit more impressive than the bayonet charge, I think, for the position that they're in at the moment. So we're going to get, they can move 2 hexes and not battle. So they're going to move into 2 hexes up to there with him. And what else were we saying? they can move 2 hexes and battle, so they're just going to fire at those light infantry. These light are going to attack the Dutch light, and then we've also got, everybody else can move 2, can't they? So 1, 2. Let's get these up. 1, 2. Up to there as well. Try, as I said, just try and get them forward, really. Gamble. Yes, it is a gamble at the moment. Right, anyway, we've got that light infantry attacking against the remains of the Dutch light infantry. So that's a kill, so that's destroyed them. They can follow up, but I'm not going to. But they have got a victory banner, so that takes them up to 3. Then we've got the line infantry as well. They were able to move and battle, so they're going to fire at the... who do we fire at? Let's go against the artillery. So 3 dice because they're firing uphill, but there's a chance they might destroy them. So 1 kill and a retreat. So he's taken out at least one of the artillery and forced them off that hill as well, which is not perfect, but not terrible either. Right, well, that was the French. So they've got to get rid of one of these. They attack the left flank of the bayonet charge. I'm going to attack the left flank, get rid of that. They want the bayonet charge because that is quite good if they can get a bit closer. Right, British attack the right flank, probe the right flank, and bayonet charge as well. What does bayonet charge do? Let's just check. Issue an order to 4 or fewer infantry units. Units may move 2 hexes and battle in melee. They can't do any range combat. I think that we're going to go for a bayonet charge. Now, Maitland. Now, your time is now. Right, so 4 of them. Let's see then. Dutch line. I'm going to pile straight into the French lights there. Then we're going to get the Grenadier Guards, pile into that French unit there in the orchard. Let's try and push them out. Oh, I forgot to give the French... Oh no, they've only just moved in, haven't they? So that's 2 gone so far. We've got 2 more. Pile into them. Let's try and wipe them out. They don't get any extra dice in this, unfortunately for them. But we'll see how it goes, shall we? So we've got the light infantry as well. They don't have to stop if they move into the orchard, so they're going to attack into that light or the line, depending on who is behind them. So let's see what happens. Right, we'll start over here in this corner. The line infantry, they don't get any bonuses for melee for the British, but they have killed 2. Right, well, that's a victory banner, and that is the 8th one for the British. They're going to move up to threaten that because they were charging. Well, they've actually just won the game. But I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to see what happens with the rest of them, because I want to see what happens. So we've got the Grenadier Guards. They're rolling 6 dice against the French in the orchard. Wow, that's wiped them out. That has killed them. That's 5 kills. Absolutely wiped them out. Just as the Grenadier Guard are supposed to, aren't they? So they can follow up with that. Let's just see if that leader survives. 2 dice. If they get 1 sword, he's killed. No, so he'll retreat. So he's going to go 1, 2 and join them. But the guard are going to move up into the orchard. This is just lip service now because the game is over. I just want to see what happens. And then we've got the light infantry attacking that light infantry. They're just attacking with 4 dice. That's 2 kills and a sabre. So yeah, that's another 2 kills. And they will also move up, and then that other line infantry can get. So the British have not only held Hougoumont, as they did in the battle, they've also forced the French back and smashed that centre completely. Oh, that was exciting. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I've enjoyed playing it. That was a good game of Command and Colours, that. How Another one bites the dust. A lot of retreating French generals, absolutely. Definitely going to try this method and get the games off the shelf. Yeah, David, as I say, check out the Power of 3 solo rules by Richard Borg. Let me see, let me just find it. Power of 3 solo rules. I literally only found it myself earlier on today. Here we are. And it's literally 3 pages. You can either use this one or the Stuka Joe method, and either are as good. Stuka Joe's is a little bit more complicated. I'll find that for you. But your case is it's good. It's quite useful. I think I prefer this one though. Let me just see if I can find it. Solo method. As the displays, I think it's all in here somewhere. There should be 8 files in there that you should be able to download. I'll just stick this on here, and you should be able to download stuff from there. Or if not, just do a search for Stuka Joe solo card game method, and you'll find it anyway. But yes, what could the French have done there really? Probably battered stuff with their artillery, but then you've got to get your artillery forward, and also make sure that the British are not firing at them as well. It's always a bit of a tough game, is this, when you don't have the cards really, and if you're an attacker, you generally soak up a lot of hits, so it can be quite difficult, especially against what is basically an entrenched enemy in this particular case. Maybe if I was playing against an opponent, it might have been a bit different, because you always are a bit different. You always make different choices as you do when you're solo, but it's that's just the way it is, isn't it? Still an enjoyable game. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for watching as well, everybody. If you've enjoyed it, if you haven't subscribed, please do. It's all very helpful, and I will see you in the next live stream, or at least in the next video that I put out, which will be tomorrow. In fact, I was going to put out a game. I was going to put out a video today, but I decided to do a live stream instead. So you've had a bonus video tonight instead of the painting 15mm French cavalry video, which I was going to put out. Check that out for tomorrow. And as I say, if you haven't already, please do subscribe, like, comment, all the usual things, and I will see you next time.